Hello everyone, and today we're going to go over chapter 14 of One Piece titled Reckless. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So the cover page of this chapter is basically Luffy sitting on top of a building with wearing a cloak and a bunch of bats given him. He's definitely have been listening to the Playboy Cardi from this shit. That's all I can tell from this. Pretty nice cover page. I like it. So on to the main chapter. So first starts off with saying Buggy saying, "So you have returned, first mate Monji," and then Monji just says, "I'm very sorry, Captain Buggy," and he has like kind of like an inner dialogue bubble where it says, "I got to tell him that guy is a rubber man," and behind him you see like Richie just defeated, bloody nose, tongue out, and he just like is like a mess. And then Buggy just kind of yells, "What? That straw hat guy beat you up? Weren't you supposed to be fighting Zoro?" And Monji's just kind of like, "Yes, sir. I underestimated him." Then like the truth is he's and then again Thought Bubble saying gotta tell him he's a rubber man, and he just kind of goes "Ruh," before he just collapsed. He just basically gets out "Ruh, man" before he just not collapse. Like he's done. And then like his crewmates are just kind of like, "What was that?" And one of them says Moji-san was trying to tell us something, and he's like, "What was so important that he had to say before passing out?" And one of the guys says like, "All I heard was him saying "Rough man," and he's just like, What the hell does "Rough man" means?" And then Buggy says, "I see. I take it you had a lovely time together then." And he's like, "Maybe." Captain Buggy understood. He's like, Did you say that punk is really romantic? Well, that does it. We can blow up this town yet. Hurry!" And then like they all yell like, "Yes, Captain Buggy!" And underneath like the yelling, you just hear like Moji just going, "Rubber man." So yeah, so this is more just like Buggy's like character of him just like not understanding like people's like words or like misconstruing words. Because the fact he got "rub man" for romantic, I mean, it makes sense. I like it, and it's kind of like a funny little scene. I think it's funny. So then it cuts to like the outskirts of it, and then the kind of the board kind of says it's the townsfolk out hideout. And then some people are out there saying, "Huh, what's that over there?" And they're like, "It's Shushu from the pet food shop." And then like a man just kind of walks up and saying, "I'm glad you're safe. Everyone was worried." And like a child's like, "Hey, it's Shushu." And then another guy says, "He looks really hurt. Those pirates must have got to him. Let's bandage him up." And then one guy's saying, "Hey, what about the bear?" And someone else is like, "You're right. He did say he was gonna go feed a dog, but it looks like only Shushu came back." And then it kind of cusses them to like a woman going like, "Oh no, maybe something happened to the mayor." And then another guy saying, I'm worried. I'll go check." And then the old man says, "Wait, you fool! The mayor isn't stupid enough to let himself get catch by pirates. He knows the village better than anyone." And the same guy just kind of continues saying, "The only problem is he cares too deeply for this town, too deeply." And he even says, "I gave him a stern warning, but who knows what he could be thinking." And then it's kind of cuts to a flashback of just like the old man and Boodle just kind of like talking, and then the old man just kind of yells, "Now don't you do anything crazy. As long as we're all safe and sound, the town can be rebuilt." And then Boodle's saying, "I know that. I'm just gonna go feed the dog." So then it cuts back over to the town, and then Luffy just kind of looks up and he knows Nami just kind of approaching, and leaving Luffy just kind of like, hmm? And Nami just kind of goes saying, "Sorry for yelling at you." And Luffy goes, "Hmm." And then Luffy just kind of stands up and says, "It's okay. Someone important to you was killed by a pirate. I'm sure you've got your own problems to worry about." And he's like, "Not that I want to hear about them." And Luffy just kind of, Nami just kind of sits there like a little smirk and just kind of like dot 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 dot. And then Boogle just kind of goes like, "Huh?" And he just kind of yells, "I can't take it anymore." And Nami's just like, "Huh?" And then like Boogle just yells, "It's just not fair. Fair. It is not. Even Shushu and these kids have been fighting for us. How can I, the mayor, sit by and watch my town be destroyed without lifting a finger?" And Nami just yells, "Settle down, Nate, mayor." And like Boogle keeps yelling, "There are some fights a man cannot back down from. Am I wrong, kid?" And Luffy just kind of grins. He's like, "You're spot on, old man." And Nami just kind of yells at him, "Don't egg him on." And Luffy just kind of like confused. And Boo kind of yells, "In other words, it all started 40 years ago." And then a little minor flashback of Boodle saying, "This place was all but a simple wasteland. There is wasteland. That is where it all began." and then like is a younger Boodle. So Boodle is like the same, but his hair used to be black. And he just kind of yells, "Let's erect a town here, and forget the old town was destroyed by pirates." And then Luffy kind of like realized something. And Boodle says, "At first, it was nothing but a few tiny houses, but little by little, the number of townspeople grew. As we worked harder and harder, the town expanded, and more businesses were founded." It just kind of shows like the evolution of town, where they started just kind of kind of like shifting through like the grounds for like farmlands. All sudden, you see like them going to building boats and fishing, having ladders and nails, and you see even Boodle like have a little like headband around him as he's like hammering in a nail, and then finally shows like him the shopkeep just kind of like yeah, and Boodle just kind of yells, "And look now, that that merger village has grown into a splendid port town, a town built by all the old folks who started years ago. We've made this town." And then Nami and Luffy are just kind of like straight faced to keep hearing him. And even Boodle said, "Both this town and its citizens are my treasure." And he yells, "What kind of mayor fails to protect his own town? I will fight." And then double page spread, you just hear Buggy scream, "Fire the special buggy ball!" All of a sudden, just boom, all the houses in front of him just get obliterated from like his cannonball in front of like Boodle, Nami, and Luffy just destroyed. And then all of a sudden, the kind of like the waves from the explosion just kind of like send Luffy, Boodle, and Nami just back flying, and all of them are just in shock by this. As Nami's shocked by this, she sees just like the house gets destroyed, and even like Boodle's like, "Oh, my house," and Luffy just is scared because he's just like, "Ah, Zoro's asleep in there," as the house gets destroyed. And then the guy kind of says, "Is the guy with the Haramaki dead?" And then like translation, Haramaki is belt. And then Luffy just kind of yells, "Hey Zoro, are you alive?" And then all of a sudden he sees like a little like figure from the smoke, and all of a sudden just like, hmm? And then you see Zoro just holding up his head, and he's like, "Talk about a rude awakening." Yeah, he's fine, like nothing's damaged. And then Luffy's guy goes, "Great, you're alive." And Nami's like, "How can he be alive?" And then like Boodle just like in the background just kind of like feels like his kind of like sits there, kind of has his hand near his chest, and it's kind of like it's like my still beating heart has been wrenched out. And even though he's like, "Mayor," he's like, "I'll never forgive them for this. I will not be crushed twice. These ruffians have no right to just show up out of nowhere and destroy the last 40 years of our lives." And Boo just kind of yells, "I am this town's mayor, and no one messes with my town without my permission." And he's like, "Time to settle things." And then Nami tries to like reach up for like Boodle's like shirt, and she's yelling, "Wait, mayor." And then like Boodles kind of yells like, "Unhand me, girl!" And Nami starts to yell, "What can you possibly do against guys like them? It's beyond reckless." And then Boodle just kind of screams, "I know it's reckless!" As like tears are like forming in his eyes, like he is just like pissed, very mad at the destructions on town. And then like from this, you just kind of see like Nami shot, Luffy straight face, and Zoro's just like he's getting ready to go. And then Boodles kind of runs up saying, "Just you wait, Buggy the Clown." And then Nami's like, the mayor was crying. And Luffy's like, "Really? I didn't notice." And then Zoro kind of looks and says, "Things are starting to get excited." And then you gotta hear like Luffy's legs of it being she, yup. And then Nami's like, "There's no time to be laughing." And Luffy's just like, "It's alright. I like that old man. I won't let him die." And Nami just kind of says, "What gives you the confidence to just stand here and laugh about it?" And Luffy says, "We're going to the Grand Line. We have to go back and get that map." And then Luffy just kind of extends his hand and just kind of yells, goes, "Join my crew. You need the map, right? And your treasure?" And then Nami just kind of shocked and just starts thinking. And Nami just kind of says, "I refuse to become a pirate. Call it an alliance instead. We're both working together towards our individual goals." And then it kind of cuts to like on top of the pub, and Buggy's yelling, "Shot number 2!" And they all yell, "All clear! Ready! Fuck!" And then all of a sudden, like, Boodle's looking down from the top of the pub, and he yells, "Buggy the Clown, get down here now!" Buggy kind of looks down and he's like, "Who is that?" As he sees Boodle just pissed, very mad. Then it kind of cuts like back to near where like the destroyed like buildings were from the first shot, and now he just yells, "You're going too," but that stab wound on your stomach is, and Zor kind of goes, "Is just fine," and I was like, "Yeah, right." And during Zor kind of gets out his bandana and he starts tying it behind him. He says, "They've done more damage to my name than my stomach. Shall we go?" As he just like ties back his bandana, and Luffy just like cracks his knuckles. He's like, "Yeah, let's go." And he's like, Zoro's like getting ready to go like with his swords, and Nami just behind him, being like, "Geez, I give up." And that's the last scene of the chapter. So we have more translation notes from their publication. I'm just gonna go over these real quick before I give like my overall thoughts of the chapter. So we're gonna go through this. So page 3, panels 2 through 3, and then it kind of says on page 2, Moji attempts to say rubber man to Buggy or Gomu Nijin. In Japanese, Buggy, hearing only the first part of each word, goes jin, of like gojin. Attempts to fill in the blanks, thinking it means gokujin, which would translate as pleasant, which most photonic misunderstanding, it doesn't translate well into English, so we went with a slightly different translation to help localize the gap. So yeah, it meant to say Luffy is a pleasant person, not romantic, but like that's kind of at least what it is. Page 7, panel 1, bubble 1. Boodle has the tenacity to say the same things 2 times in a row, swapping a few words around in the process. In other words, he says the same thing twice. Needless to say, it can be awkward in Japanese as it is in English. So if we go back to that sort of panel, just to kind of like look at it at page 7. I'm gonna go find it real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not just fair. Fair. It is not. Even Shushu and these kids have been fighting for years. It's mainly just him referring to like him just saying like fair, fair. That's kind of like the main reference of what it is. Just had to double check to get it accurate. And then page 8, panels 4 through 5. Heku 2, written on the townsman's shirt, can mean obstinate, tenacious, eccentric, and bigot. It most likely meant to reflect their resolve to press on and build a new village. And page 13, panel 2, bubble 1. Haramaki literally translates to stomach wrap, but the term is already a borrowed word in English due to it being a specific Japanese accessory. We followed suit because it would be awkward and confusing if translated. So that is some more Japanese words, and if they're going to keep putting these translation notes in here, I am going to go through them in the end because Koshiro is cool. So that's the chapter. I like this chapter because it kind of shows more of like Boodle's character and just kind of like how much he cares about like the village. Like it kind of makes it like more like impactful to him, the fact that his village gets destroyed, even though he's spent like 40 years like working on this and just like building up from like basically ground zero to where it is now, to where it's like a very popular like port town. And the fact that Buggy and his crew is just obliterating it in front of his eyes, it just makes him mad, and I think it works. I like this. I like his little like declaration, like as he begins to like march away, saying, "I know it's reckless." Like I just think it's a really nice like scene. I think it makes sense for what we kind of get from Boodle. I also like towards the end where kind of like Nami at least kind of agrees to kind of like work with pirates. So you kind of see like her like evolve with her like not fully trusting pirates, but at least being willing to like at least work with them. At least be willing to work the ones that are good, like at least like certain ones. So I kind of like the fact that Navi's kind of heading towards that direction. And overall, yeah, I just kind of like, I kind of like this chapter. I think it's pretty good. And overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. So, as I said, beginning of the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and also check out my TikTok in the description below where I post like random like fictional topics and I just yap about it. Make sure to follow that as AP Beans 2. Link is in the description. And yeah, hopefully go check it out and enjoy it. I am signing off. Later, everyone.